Pay attention to this. A woman and a teenage girl walk toward a house in the afternoon. The woman's hand rests on the girl's shoulder. She scans the street like she's checking if anyone is watching. They step inside. Minutes later, only the woman comes back out. This woman is her stepmother. She's been in that home for 2 years. She helped with homework. She drove her to school. She held her when she cried about her late mother. And what nobody knew is that this woman had been waiting for this moment for more than 20 years. She was there first before the wife, before the child, before any of it. And she spent years making sure she would be there last. This is the story of a woman who never let go. And once you understand how long she waited, you'll never look at your father's past the same way again. Lila Hart was 17 years old, a senior at Westbrook High School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. She had a 3.6 GPA. She ran track. She wanted to study psychology. Her friends described her as curious, one who always asked questions, the one who noticed details people ignored, the one who couldn't drop something once it started to bother her. That last part is what got her killed. On September 14, 2024, Lila came home from school with her stepmother, Rachel Bennett. A security camera captured them walking toward the house together. Just a few seconds of footage. After that moment, Lila Hart was never seen alive again. 3 hours later, Rachel called the police and said Lila had vanished from her bedroom. The window was open. Her phone was on the bed. Her shoes were by the door. Everyone asked the same question. Where did she go? But that was the wrong question. The right question was, who was Rachel Bennett before she became Lila's stepmother? And the answer had been buried for 22 years. So let me take you back 2000 to a summer camp in the Great Smoky Mountains. Kids from all over Tennessee and North Carolina to 15-year-olds meet during the first week. His name was Ethan Hart. He was from Chattanooga. Her name was Rachel Bennett. She was from Knoxville. They were a couple hours apart, but it didn't matter. They spent 3 weeks together that summer. By the end of camp, they were inseparable. And what started at camp didn't end there. For 5 years. They kept it alive the way teenagers do. Late night calls, weekend visits when they could manage. Ethan would drive to Knoxville. Rachel would take the bus to Chattanooga. They made it work desperately, obsessively. That kind of love feels like the whole world. Ethan never brought Rachel home to meet his family. Not because he was ashamed. It was because their time together was limited. And he didn't want to waste it sitting through family dinners. His parents knew he had a girlfriend in Knoxville. They'd heard her name, but they'd never seen her face. That detail will matter later. For 5 years, Ethan and Rachel planned their future. After high school, they'd move to Nashville, go to college, get an apartment, get married, have kids. Rachel had it all planned out. She was looking at wedding ideas when they were barely adults. And then, in the summer of 2007, Ethan went to a party in Chattanooga without her. One party, one night, one mistake. Her name was Hannah Price, a friend of a friend. Ethan was drunk. Hannah was there. It happened once, but once was enough. 3 weeks later, Hannah told Ethan she was pregnant. And in 2007, with small-town pressure and strict families, everyone treated it like there was only one option. Ethan's parents sat him down. Hannah's parents sat her down. There would be a wedding. There would be a family. Ethan would do the right thing, and Rachel Bennett would be left behind. Ethan broke up with Rachel on a Tuesday afternoon in August 2007. He drove to Knoxville to tell her face to face. He told her about the pregnancy. He told her about the wedding. He told her he was sorry. He told her he didn't have a choice. Rachel didn't scream. She didn't cry. She sat there and listened to every word. When he finished, she looked at him and said, "I understand." And then she added something else. She said, "This isn't finished." Ethan thought she meant they could stay friends. That's not what she meant. Ethan married Hannah in October 2007. Small ceremony, family only. Rachel wasn't invited. She was supposed to disappear from Ethan's life forever. But a few weeks after the wedding, she messaged him just to talk. just because they had been together for so long. Ethan should have ignored it. He didn't. They met at a diner halfway between Chattanooga and Knoxville. Then they met at a motel. Then they met at a cabin Rachel found near Tellico Lake, about an hour from both cities, far enough that no one would recognize them. Rachel rented it with money she had saved. Eventually, she bought it, a place that belonged only to them. And for the next 13 years, Ethan Hart lived two lives, Monday through Friday. He was a husband and a father in Chattanooga. He worked. He came home to Hannah and their daughter, Lila. He pretended to be present, but twice a month, sometimes more, he drove to that cabin. And Rachel was always there, waiting. Patient. She built her life around those visits. Rachel moved back to Knoxville for Ethan's wedding. She got a job as a nurse at a big medical center. She was good at it, calm, careful, helpful, the same qualities that made her wait for a man who kept promising to leave his wife. She lived alone. She never dated anyone else. She never married. She never had children. People at work thought she was private and focused on her career. They didn't know that twice a month she drove to a cabin in the woods to meet a married man. They didn't know she had been stuck on the same person since she was 15. They didn't know she wasn't living. She was waiting. Always waiting for Ethan to leave. Hannah. Always waiting for him to choose her. Waiting for the life she believed she was promised. But Ethan never left. He always had an excuse. Lila was too young. The timing wasn't right. Hannah would take everything in the divorce. He needed more time. 13 years of more time. And Rachel's patience started turning into something else. Hannah knew something was wrong. She felt it. Ethan was distant, distracted, always half present. Work trips didn't add up. He would come home and act like his mind was somewhere else. She asked him once if there was someone else. He said no. She didn't believe him, but she had no proof. And she had Lila. So Hannah stayed. She told herself, maybe every marriage feels empty after a while. She told herself Ethan was a good father, even if he wasn't a good husband. She told herself whatever she needed to tell herself just to get through the week. Hannah also suffered from chronic migraines, the kind that could put her in bed for days. The medication was expensive. Insurance helped, but not enough. It was always a financial stress on top of everything else. Then one day, Ethan came home with a solution. He said a friend from work knew someone who could get the medication cheaper. Much cheaper. Hannah didn't ask too many questions. The pills looked the same. They worked the same. And they saved the family a lot of money each month. What Hannah didn't know was this: there was no friend from work. Those pills came from Rachel. Rachel stole them from the hospital where she worked. She told Ethan she was helping him, saving him money, being useful. Ethan thought it was kindness. He thought Rachel was proving she could help his family too. He didn't know she was adding something to those pills before giving them to him. A heart medication. The kind that doesn't kill fast. In tiny doses over time, it builds up in the body. It can cause fatigue, nausea, strange heart symptoms, confusion, and eventually, the heart stops. Rachel was a nurse. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew exactly how long it would take. And she knew most people would never suspect poison. In December 2020, Lila was 13. Hannah was 33. That winter, Hannah started feeling tired. Not normal tired, deep, heavy exhaustion. She went to the doctor. Blood tests, exams, everything looked fine. But it kept getting worse. Then came nausea. Then the racing heart. Then dizziness and confusion. Doctors adjusted her meds, gave her supplements, told her to rest. Nothing changed, because Hannah kept taking her migraine pills. The same pills she trusted. The same pills slowly killing her. In February 2021, Hannah collapsed in the kitchen. Lila found her on the floor when she got home from school. Paramedics arrived fast, but Hannah was pronounced dead at the hospital. Cause of death: cardiac arrest. She was only 33. with no known heart problems. Doctors called it sudden cardiac death. Rare, but possible. Sometimes a heart just stops. Sometimes. There's no clear explanation. Nobody thought to test deeper. Nobody connected her death to her migraine medication. Nobody said murder. Ethan was devastated. Lila was crushed. And Rachel waited. She didn't rush in right away. She understood. Timing. She had been planning 4 years. 8 months after Hannah's death, Ethan told his family he was seeing someone new. He said they met through grief support. Her name was Rachel, a nurse from Knoxville. Kind. Understanding. Someone who knew what loss felt like. Ethan's family welcomed her. They'd heard that name years ago, but they had never seen the girl from summer camp. Ethan never brought her home back then. So when this Rachel walked into their lives, nobody recognized her. Why would they? It had been decades. People forget. People move on. Rachel never forgot. Rachel never moved on. And now she was inside the house, sleeping in the bed that used to be Hannah's, cooking in the kitchen where Hannah collapsed, helping raise the daughter that inside Rachel's mind should have been hers. For 2 years, Rachel played the role of loving stepmother. She moved in. She was gentle with Lila. She helped with college applications. She learned Lila's habits, fears, schedule, and routines. She did almost everything right. Almost. Because Rachel kept one thing from her old life. In her wallet, behind her driver's license, she kept an old photo strip. A photo booth strip from the mid-2000s. 4 tiny pictures of her and Ethan as teenager, smiling, kissing, making faces at the camera, young and sure about their future. Rachel carried it 4 years. She couldn't let it go. To her, it was proof. Proof she was there first. Proof Ethan belonged to her before he belonged to anyone else. She kept it hidden, but she kept it close. And that was the mistake. September 8, 2024, 6 days before Lila vanished. A Sunday afternoon. Ethan was out running errands. Lila needed cash for a school trip. She asked Rachel. Rachel was in the shower. So Lila did what teenagers do. She went into Rachel's purse to grab a bill from her wallet. She opened it. She looked behind the cash and she found the photo strip. Her father, young, maybe 17, kissing a girl who looked exactly like Rachel. Lila stared at it for a long time. At first she tried to explain it away. Maybe it was someone who just looked like her. Maybe it was a coincidence. But Lila was the type who didn't let things go. That night, she searched online. Old school pages, old yearbook posts, anything she could find. And she found Rachel. Same face. Same smile. Same person. Her dad's teenage girlfriend was now her stepmother. And nobody had ever told her. Not her father. Not Rachel. Asterisk. Why hide it? What else were they hiding? Lila didn't confront them immediately. She watched. She listened. And she started noticing things she hadn't noticed before. How Rachel looked at her, sometimes not loving, something colder, something like resentment. How Ethan acted around Rachel, nervous, guilty, like he was always trying to calm her down, without saying why. And then Lila started thinking about her mother. How tired Hannah had been. How fast things happened. How there was never a real explanation. Lila wasn't a detective. She was a 17-year-old girl, but she knew something felt wrong. She told her best friend, Jada, on September 12th, she said, I found something weird, she said. I think my stepmom knew my dad before, she said. Something doesn't feel right about how my mom died. Jada told her to talk to her father. Lila said she needed more proof first. She said she was going to look around the house and see if she could find anything else. That was September 12th. September 14th was the last day anyone saw her alive. September 14th, 2024. Investigators believe Lila came home from school with Rachel around 3:30 p.m. Ethan was at work. The security camera showed them walking in together. What happened inside the house is based on evidence found later. At some point that afternoon, Rachel realized Lila had been going through her things. Maybe Lila confronted her. Maybe Rachel noticed the wallet had been disturbed. Maybe Lila said something that gave it away, something that proved she knew. Whatever triggered it, Rachel made a decision. She waited 22 years for this life. She had already removed one obstacle. She could remove another. 6 days later, Lila's body was found in a cabin near Tellico Lake, the same cabin where Rachel and Ethan had been meeting for 13 years. Lila had been strangled. Her body was hidden in a space beneath the floor. Rachel had kept that cabin all these years. She never told Ethan she still owned it. It was her private place, and it became Lila's grave. It started with the security camera footage. Rachel was the last person seen with Lila. Police questioned her immediately. She was calm, cooperative. She told them Lila went to her room after they got home. She said she took a shower, and when she came out, the window was open and Lila was gone. Same pattern. The grieving stepmother. No idea what happened. Detectives might have believed her, except Lila's friend Jada came forward on data. She told police about the photograph. She told them about Lila's suspicions. She told them Lila thought something was wrong about her mother's death. That changed everything. Detectives dug into Rachel Bennett's background. They found her hospital employment history. They found the cabin property records. The cabin had been in her name for years. They got a warrant. They drove out there. The cabin was remote, trees everywhere, no neighbors close by, the kind of place where no one would hear anything. They searched. And on September 20th, 6 days after Lila vanished, they found her hidden under the floor. She had been there while Ethan went on TV begging for help, while the community formed search parties, while Rachel stood beside him holding his hand and crying on camera. Lila was less than an hour away, under the floorboards of her stepmother's cabin. Forensics worked the scene 4 days. They found Lila's DNA throughout the cabin. And then they found something else. In a closet, behind old clothing, they found a box Rachel had kept for more than 2 decades. Inside were photos, Rachel and Ethan as teenagers at summer camp. Rachel and Ethan at the cabin over the years, printed images organized by date going back to 2008. And in a separate envelope, they found 3 photographs of Hannah Price, not family pictures, not happy memories, surveillance-style shots. Hannah at the grocery store. Hannah at Lila's school. Hannah inside her own home captured through a window. Rachel had been watching her long before she died. Investigators reopened Hannah's case. They exhumed her body. New toxicology testing found traces of a heart medication Hannah was never prescribed. They traced where Hannah's cheap migraine pills came from. They found records showing Rachel had accessed that heart medication at the hospital. Small amounts spread out over months. Enough to weaken someone slowly without raising immediate suspicion. Someone had been poisoning Hannah for over a year. Someone with access to hospital meds. Someone who had been sleeping with her husband for years. Someone waiting for her to die. A murder disguised as help. Rachel Bennett was arrested on September 22, 2024. She was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Lila Hart and Hannah Price to people standing between her and the life she believed she deserved. Ethan Hart was questioned for weeks. Detectives wanted to know if he helped. He didn't. He was guilty of cheating, guilty of lying 4 years, guilty of bringing poison into his home thinking it was medicine, guilty of bringing his mistress into his family and letting her raise his child. But he didn't know she was killing them. He didn't know those pills were altered. He didn't know she strangled Lila. When investigators showed Ethan the surveillance photos of Hannah, he broke down. He thought his wife died naturally. He thought he was helping her by finding cheaper medication. He Thought he was lucky to find love again. He thought Lila's death was a random tragedy. Learning the truth destroyed him. Ethan testified at trial. He told the whole story. The summer camp. The long-distance relationship. The pregnancy that ended it. The affair that lasted 13 years. The cabin. The pills. Everything. He admitted every lie. He admitted he never loved Hannah the way she deserved. He admitted he was thinking about Rachel even on his wedding day. He admitted he had seen Rachel shortly before Hannah died. When the prosecutor asked if he felt responsible, Ethan said yes. Not for the murders, but for creating the conditions that made them possible. For feeding Rachel's obsession instead of ending it. For choosing his selfish needs over his family's safety. Ethan wasn't charged, but everyone in Chattanooga knew his name. Everyone knew what he did. Everyone knew his secret helped build the obsession that killed his family. He has to live with that ... throughout the trial. Rachel showed almost no emotion. Same calm face, same patient expression. Witnesses came forward. Co-workers who remembered strange questions about heart drugs. A pharmacist who remembered her researching cardiac medications. The evidence was overwhelming, but what haunted the jury most was that box. Years of photos organized like a timeline, like a shrine, a record of an obsession that never died. When the prosecutor asked Rachel why she did it, she said something that silenced the room. She said she was there first. She said she was there before Hannah, before Lila, before any of it. She said Hannah took what was hers. She said Lila was never supposed to exist. She said she was just fixing a mistake from 22 years ago. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on both counts. Life without parole. She will die in prison. But before sentencing, Rachel looked at Ethan in the courtroom the same way she looked at him when they were 15 at camp. Like he was the only person in the world. And she said, "I'd do it again." Ethan collapsed in his seat. And in that moment, he finally understood what his choices had cost. Everything. Think about what it takes to wait 22 years. Think about the patience it takes to watch the person you love marry someone else, have a child with someone else, build a life with someone else, and still refuse to let go. Most people would grieve and heal. Rachel didn't heal. She planned. She used her nursing knowledge to kill quietly. She used access and time to make death look natural. She waited for her moment. And when she finally got into Ethan's home, she didn't see it as a new beginning. She saw it as a correction. To her, Hannah wasn't just a wife. She was an obstacle. To her, Lila wasn't just a child. She was proof of betrayal. Every time Rachel looked at Lila, she saw the past she couldn't accept. And when Lila found that photo and started asking questions, Rachel decided the truth would not survive. Lila noticed something was wrong. She did the research. She told her friend. She tried to find proof, and that search got her killed. If she never opened that wallet, maybe she'd still be alive. Or maybe it was never about if. Maybe it was always about when. So pay attention to the stories your family never tells. Pay attention to old relationships that ended badly. Pay attention to the person who never moved on. Because sometimes love doesn't let go. Sometimes it waits, sometimes it watches, and sometimes it removes everything in its way.